and to be here with you today. I'm glad the doors are big so that my head can make it out the door. I am the Reverend Tiffany Anderson. I am the minister of this church, and my pronouns are she and her. If you're with us in person, you'll notice that our screens are still blank. We've got the part that we need ordered, and everything should be good to go starting next Sunday. But for today, you're just going to have to use your hymnals when it's time for hymns. Today, we explore the poetry of Mary Oliver. And the UU hymn, Chant for the Seasons, just feels like the right opening hymn. All 4 verses take us through the entire year, and Mary Oliver could be found rambling around the woods and exploring the beach in every season. So please rise with us in body or spirit, and let's sing all 4 verses of Chant for the Seasons, which is hymn number 73 in the thicker gray hymnal. For that opening hymn. I know it's a little longer than we usually go, but it was really neat for me to trace the entire turning of the seasons when we have a poet who does that so much herself. Turning back to this season, as I've been outside a lot lately, I've been hearing the call of the geese. And so our Call to Worship is one of the best-known Mary Oliver poems that is actually in the back of our hymnal. You have been using it forever, and it is Wild Geese. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscape. Over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, this world offers itself to your imagination. Calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. Let's sit in the quiet together.
Good morning to all, each and every one of you. Glad to see you. My name is Beth, and I'm technically your service leader. A little bit different than Reverend Tiffany. Not much. If you're visiting us for the first time, you're especially welcome today. And Phyllis, who's at the visitors table back there, will help you get oriented if you have any questions. And if you have little ones, the greeters can show you the way to the nursery, which is available for children 6 and under. And kids are also certainly welcome to stay in the sanctuary. Today, we light the chalice in celebration of our interconnectedness with light and life and all the good things of the natural world that are there for us if we only pay attention and notice them. Our helper today is Miss Ruby. And she's a first grade student at Northside, and she likes soccer and playing, and I'd say rainbows too. As Ruby lights the chalice, please join me in saying our vision statement, which is printed in your bulletin. We work together as a church to transform ourselves, our community, and our world by sharing love, pursuing justice, and seeking wonder.
Our story for all ages today is called Woods and Words, written by Sarah Holly Ackerman, and it is the story of Mary Oliver. This picture book is illustrated so beautifully by Naoko Stoop, and I think it's a real tragedy that no one is going to get to see these gorgeous pictures. So if anyone wants to come up right here, young or old, just for today to see the pictures, you can come up now if you would like to listen and see. I mean, y'all are in a pretty good spot already, aren't you? This is a story about a woman named Mary Oliver, and it begins when she was very young, probably about your guys' age. Mary crouched in the hut she had stitched of grass and sticks, noticing birdsong, velvet leaves, a glittering beam of light. There were treasures all around if you paid attention. When the classroom walls wrapped her too tightly, Mary traded them for the mossy edge of a creek, and the woods became her school. Sitting in clusters of colesfoot and violets, alone except for the poets she had tucked in her knapsack, Mary wrote. She filled stacks of notebooks and wore pencils down to splinters. In spring, winged maple seeds spun off their branches, whirling through the wide, still sky. Mary whirled over too, zipping over pavement and bumping along dirt roads to an old farmhouse where poets once lived. She wrapped herself in woods and words. What more could she ask for? And then, a regular day, just a visitor at the kitchen table, but Mary saw it, love. It took Molly longer, but eventually she saw it too. That woman with the camera's Molly. They captured their world, Molly with her camera and Mary with her pencil. Click, clack, flash. Scritch, scratch, slash. They settled in Provincetown, a speck on the map where land ended and sea began. Mary walked the woods searching for poems. There were always poems if you paid attention. She found one burrowing under a damp, mysterious layer of leaves. Mary scooped up another poem as it flashed by on the back of two snakes. She smelled poems too, sweet or rotten, they were there. Poems were easier to catch with the right tools, a notebook that fit in her pocket, and pencils that she kept tucked in the trees. Can you guys imagine squirreling away pencils in the trees? Fair enough. Mary gathered words as she walked, along with clams and the sand flats and fat, shiny mushrooms. For poems, yes, but also because she was hungry, and she saw how the woods were full of supper to bring back to the boathouse that she and Molly called home. Look at all the wild things they found to eat. Isn't that cool? Yeah. And I'll have it up here later for you guys to look at too. If you're looking for wild things to eat in the woods, make sure that an adult who knows what they're doing is with you. When money was scarce, Mary worked at a printing company, leftover paper scraps that were destined for the dustbin, until she noticed they were just right for scribbling long, skinny poems. Some of her poems appeared in magazines. Others were bound and sold in the bookshop that Molly opened. And then on a regular day with a sink full of suds and dishes to wash, ring, 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 the telephone rang. Mary had won a poetry prize, the biggest poetry prize. She nestled the telephone back in the cradle and went to the dump. Prize or no prize, her roof needed shingles. Ain't life like that sometimes? Some critics sneered at Mary's poems. One editor would print Mary's poem only if she took the word beautiful out of it. I bet he's eaten his words. But Mary thought that snow and silence, the blinking eyes of a black bear, and even a corn on the cob were beautiful. So she told the truth, even if it meant that man wouldn't publish her poem. Some people thought poetry had to be fancy, but Mary believed poems were for everyone, best served plain. So she wrote what she liked, and readers tucked her words in their knapsacks and loved them. When a muskrat bit her thumb, she turned it into a poem. The grasshopper who arrived at her plate to eat her birthday cake frosting became a poem too. And years after years, her dogs barked and bounded across the page. That's just how Mary lived, in a home that she built with woods and words. Discovering what else and where else a poem could be. The end. Close your eyes and imagine with me. You're walking through the woods or on the beach with Mary. She's your age, and there's an easy silence between the two of you. As you are walking together, you are looking for beauty. What do you notice? What creatures? What plant life? What weather and landscape? It's all there, just waiting to be noticed. Maybe there are geese flying overhead, seen and heard. Maybe the sun shines upon your face and you really feel the warmth on your skin with every ounce of attention. Maybe you hear the rustling of the leaves in the wind, and it just goes on and on. You pay attention with your whole self, and eventually, Mary begins to speak. Her observations, her awe and love for the world around her, the insights that they bring her. Mary Oliver is preaching today, and we are listening. As you hear her poetry, place yourself in her countryside amble, and when each poem is done, we have silence to consider what the poem is inviting us to contemplate.
This world. I would like to write a poem about the world that has in it nothing fancy, but it seems impossible. Whatever the subject, the morning sun glimmers it. The tulip feels the heat and flaps its petals open and becomes a star. The ants bore into the peony bud, and there is a dark pinprick well of sweetness. As for the stones on the beach, forget it. Each one could be set in gold. So I tried with my eyes shut, but of course the birds were singing, and the aspen trees were shaking the sweetest music out of their leaves, and that was followed by, guess what? A momentous and beautiful silence, as comes to all of us in little earfuls, if we're not too hurried to hear it. As for spiders, how the dew hangs in their webs, even if they say nothing or seem to say nothing. So fancy is the world, who knows? Maybe they sing. So fancy is the world, who knows? Maybe the stars sing too. And the ants, and the peonies, and the warm stones, so happy to be where they are on the beach, instead of being locked up in gold.
Hello, sun in my face. Hello, you who make the morning and spread it over the fields and into the faces of the tulips and the nodding morning glories, and into the windows of even the most miserable and crotchety. Best preacher that ever was, dear star that just happens to be where you are in the universe to keep us from ever darkness, to ease us with warm touching, to hold us in the great hands of light. Good morning, good morning, good morning. A question: how does the natural world preach to you?
When I am among the trees, especially the willow and the honey locust, equally the beech, the oaks, and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would almost say, they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself in which I have goodness and discernment and never hurry through the world but walk slowly and bow often. Around me, the trees stir in their leaves and call out, "Stay a while." The light flows from their branches and they call it again. It's simple, they say, and you too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light, and to shine. A question. What makes you shine?
Mysteries, 4 of the simple ones. How does the seed grain feel when it is just beginning to be wheat? And how does the catbird feel when the blue eggs break and become little catbirds? Maybe on Midsummer Night's Eve and without fanfare. And how does a turtle feel as she covers her eggs with a sweep of her feet, then leaves them for the world to take care of? Does she know her accomplishments? And when the blue heron, beaking his long breast feathers, sees one feather fall, does he know I will find it? Will he see me holding it in my hand as he opens his wings softly and without a sound as he rises and floats over the water? And this is just any day at the edge of the pond, a black and leafy pond without a name until I named it. And what else can we do when the mysteries present themselves but hope to pluck from the basket the brisk words that will applaud them? The heron, the turtle, the catbird, the seed grain, kneeling in the dark earth, its body opening into the golden world. Let's sit with the mystery together.
You're ready to go whenever you want to.
Okay.
Excited for tomorrow, torn up about yesterday. Memories haunt my heart, while worries flood my mind. I can't keep living in all these places at once. Can I just focus on the present moment and it'll take some devotion, some self-control, but I've got to focus on the present moment. When I finally do it, oh, what joys I'll find.
From Mary Oliver, Reckless poem. Today again, I am hardly myself. It happens over and over. It's heaven sent. It flows through me like the blue wave. Green leaves, you may believe this or not, have once or twice emerged from the tips of my fingers somewhere in the deep woods in the reckless seizure of spring. Though, of course, I also know the other song, the sweet passion of oneness. Just yesterday, I watched an ant crossing a path through the tumbled pine needles she toiled. And I thought, she will never live another life but this one. And I thought, if she lives her life with all her strength, is she not wonderful and wise? And I continued this up the miraculous pyramid of everything until I came to myself. And still, even in these northern woods, on these hills of sand, I have flown from the other window of myself to become the white heron, the blue whale, red fox, hedgehog. Oh, sometimes my body has felt like the body of a flower. Sometimes already my heart is a red parrot, perched among strange dark trees, flapping and screaming. A question for all of us. How do we experience oneness?
Everything. No doubt in Holland, when Van Gogh was a boy, there were swans drifting over the green sea of the meadows, and no doubt on some warm afternoon, he lay down and watched them, and almost thought, this is everything. What drove him to get up and look further is what saves this world, even as it breaks the hearts of men. In the mines where he preached, where he studied tenderness, there were only men, all of them streaked with dust. For years, he would reach toward the darkness, but no doubt, like all of us, he finally remembered everything, including the white birds, weightless and unaccountable, floating around the towns of grit and hopelessness. And this is what would finish him, not the gloom, which was only terrible, but those last yellow fields where clearly nothing in the world mattered or ever would but the insensible light. A question: how do you experience the contrasts of life?
Morning poem. Every morning the world is created. Under the orange sticks of the sun, the heaped ashes of the night turn into leaves again and fasten themselves to the high branches. And the pond appears like black cloth on which are painted islands of summer lilies. If it is your nature to be happy, you will swim away along the soft trails. For hours, your imagination alighting everywhere. And if your spirit carries with it the thorn that is heavier than lead, if it's all you can do to keep on trudging, there is still somewhere deep within you A beast shouting that the earth is exactly what it wanted. Each pond with its blazing lilies is a prayer heard and answered lavishly every morning. Whether or not you have dared to be happy, whether or not you have ever dared to pray. Mary Oliver reveals her own spiritual perspective throughout her poetry. This is only like 2 pages. Do you guys want to hang out with me up here or go sit down?
I'm prepared.
Yeah? You're good? All right. Cool. All right. Sometimes she uses words like prayer and salvation, but clearly means something different from those words than when those words echo through ancient and hallowed cathedral halls. For her, salvation seems to be respite from suffering and from stress. The monotonous and the horrific in human existence cannot reach her here in the arms of nature, even if the natural realities of death and grief can and do. For her, prayer happens in the woods and at the beach, and it is between her and the mysterious forces of life and death, not a named God who is keeping track of her sins. There is a serenity to her tone, one who has made peace with what is and is willing to really see and notice the world around her. The good, the bad, and the ugly, yes, and the beautiful too. Both the poets that she smuggled out of her classrooms and the wild woods that met her while she was skipping class invited her to the present moment, invited her to just be. Invited her, and really all of us through her, to a place where we can release our burdens for a while. Breathe deeply, think deeply, feel deeply. And that is something we all need very much. I feel like that's something that a lot of us come here for. Mary Oliver's childhood was quite troubled, and the world we live in now can be troubling too. But together, we are seeking a little peace, a little perspective, and a little wisdom. In the stresses of daily living, with all the injustice and pain, we cannot keep scurrying along from one urgent, panicked moment to another. And we cannot keep trudging along with the heavy thorn in our side. We won't be effective, we'll burn out, and we'll hurt people in the process. The beloved community will not make it that way. But there's an alternative, and it's Mary Oliver's alternative. Whether we find our peace, perspective, and wisdom in the woods, at the beach, in this sanctuary, gathered around a table with our family, or playing games with our friends, love is waiting for us there and right here. A great mystery that we will never fully understand, but invites us to embrace the cycles of life and our place in this world nonetheless. reminding us to breathe, reminding us to go easy on ourselves and each other, reminding us to let go, reminding us to put down that phone, that email, that social media, that strategic plan, and rest, and be loved, and love. Reminding us to notice the beauty of this world and to really sink into it and let it renew us.
It's fall in the northern woods. She calls it in Blackwater Woods. Look, the trees are turning their own bodies into pillars of light and are giving off the rich fragrance of cinnamon and fulfillment. The long tapers of cattails are bursting and floating away over the blue shoulders of the ponds, and every pond, no matter what its name is nameless now. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this: the fires and the black river of loss whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes, to let it go. Let it go. The question is, what have you loved and what have you let go?
I worried a lot. Will the garden grow? Will the rivers flow in the right direction? Will the earth turn as it was taught? And if not, how shall I correct it? Was I right? Was I wrong? Will I be forgiven? Can I do better? Will I ever be able to sing? Even the sparrows can do it, and I am, well, hopeless. Is my eyesight fading, or am I just imagining it? Am I going to get rheumatism, lockjaw, dementia? Finally, I saw that worrying had come to nothing, and I gave it up, and took my old body and went out into the morning and sang.
This table, there is a flame hiding in there. I see it. If I turned it the wrong way, that would have been really bad. This table is a safe place for us to drop our worries, release what we need to let go, offer our prayers, and celebrate our connections. If you'd like to share a joy or a sorrow in person, please use these candle cards that are located on the back table. And if you'd like to share a joy or a concern from a distance, please email minister@hvuuc.org. A candle of joy from Noel. The SLAP donation that we gave last week was for $1,500. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the largest Fifth Sunday donation that I recall in recent history. What a joy. It made their volunteers cry for joy. Thank you very much. And joy for Greg and Betty for cleaning and bleaching the picnic tables on the deck. Yay, team. A candle of joy from Vonda. I stand in appreciation, feeling gratitude for all the nurturing words and messages spoken here. Thank you so much. Me too. A candle card for Lyle Egan. Many of you know Lyle as a member of our congregation for a long time. He passed away this last Saturday, August 30th, from cancer. Lyle was an important part of this church for many years, and I've had many talks with Lyle that were always infused with wisdom, humor, and compassion. Lyle was a Vietnam War veteran who, with conscientious objector status, went to serve as a medic. He will be missed by all of us and has made a very special impact on his covenant group especially. Special thanks to Greg and his covenant group and the caring team for all of the love and support that they showed Lyle. We'll miss Lyle very much. And if I have more information about something coming up for Lyle, I will make sure to share it with you all. A candle card from Catherine. Big gratitude and joy for several guys from Macho who showed up to help us move on the Friday before Labor Day. I'm still exhausted a week later, and we quite literally would not have been able to do it alone. Special appreciation for those who were patient with the 5-year-old who wanted to help so much at every turn, even with furniture 10 times her size. Thank you, Macho. And a very special announcement from Justin Ridley, our Director of Religious Education. Dear Reverend Tiffany Anderson and members of the board, I am writing to formally submit my resignation as Director of Religious Education at Holston Valley Unitarian Universalist Church effective October 3rd, 2025. This letter serves as my official 30-day notice. It has been a great honor and joy to serve this community. Working alongside you, the staff, and our wonderful congregation has been a deeply meaningful chapter in my professional and spiritual life. I am profoundly grateful for the trust you placed in me, for the opportunities to learn and grow, and for the chance to walk with our children, youth, and families in their spiritual journeys. After much reflection, I have decided to step away to devote greater attention to establishing and expanding my spiritual direction practice. This is an exciting new step for me, but it is not without a bittersweet sense of parting from a community that has been so supportive and nurturing. I remain committed to ensuring as smooth a transition as possible over the coming weeks and will work with you to support the continuity of our religious education programs. Please accept my heartfelt thanks for the encouragement, wisdom, and friendship you have shared during my time here. Holston Valley will always hold a special place in my heart, and I look forward to seeing the congregation continue to thrive and grow. With gratitude and warm regards, Justin Ridley. Justin's letter really says it all. It is the unique privilege of our congregation to nurture blossoming, talented ministers and enjoy the benefits of their leadership as they grow into the fullness of their ministry. I am so grateful for Justin's presence and will miss working with him a lot. And I know that just as Justin came to us when we needed him, someone else is out there for the next stage of our journey, while Justin goes off to be a spiritual director, which is a really excellent fit and calling for him. We've got a month left with Justin, so please take the time we have left to let him know how grateful you have been for his ministry. He's here today, but I'm not going to single him out right now. But those of you who know Justin, let him know, because he certainly has had a huge impact on us here. We invite you to come to this table to light a candle for your joys or sorrows, or you can raise your hand and I will light a candle for you. During this time, you may also leave money in the basket for the kids' collection for hunger. And our community is so much larger than just those of us who are in the building this morning, so we light a candle to hold space for those who are not physically present with us, but are ever in our hearts. a final candle for all that remains unspoken in our hearts and minds.
You can die for it, an idea or the world. People have done so brilliantly, letting their small bodies be bound to the stake, creating an unforgettable fury of light. But this morning, climbing the familiar hills and the familiar fabric of dawn, I thought of China and India and Europe, and I thought how the sun blazes for everyone just so joyfully as it rises under the lashes of my own eyes, and I thought, I am so many. What is my name? What is the name of the deep breath I would take over and over for all of us? Call it whatever you want. It's happiness. It is another one of the ways to enter fire.
The journey. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began, though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice. Though the whole house began to tremble and you felt the old tug at your ankles. Mend my life, each voice cried. But you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do, though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations, though their melancholy was terrible. It was already late enough, and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones. But little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save.
What I have learned so far: meditation is old and honorable, so why should I not sit every morning of my life on the hillside looking into the shining world? Because properly attended to, delight as well as havoc is suggestion. Can one be passionate about the just, the ideal, the sublime, and the holy, and yet commit to no labor in its cause? I don't think so. All summations have a beginning, all effect has a story, all kindness begins with a sown seed. Thought buds towards radiance. The gospel of light is the crossroads of indolence or action. Be ignited or be gone. What are you called to?
Summer day. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean, the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around her with enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know what exactly a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down into the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I've been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it that you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?
We'll extinguish the chalice together with a closing thought from our wonderful poet. You are young, so you know everything. You leap into the boat and you begin rowing. But listen to me. Without fanfare, without embarrassment, without doubt, I talk directly to your soul. Listen to me. Lift the oars from the water, let your arms rest in your heart and your heart's little intelligence, and listen to me. There is life without love. It is not worth a bent penny or a scuffed shoe. It's not worth the body of a dead dog 9 days unburied. When you hear a mile away and still out of sight the churn of the water as it begins to swirl and roil, fretting around the sharp rocks, when you hear that unmistakable pounding, when you feel the mist on your mouth and sense ahead the embattlement, the long falls plunging and streaming, then row for your life toward it. Thank you so much for being with us today. We'd love it if you could stay for a very special coffee hour. We're calling it the Sunday, S-U-N-D-A, E-Social, to welcome back Reverend Tiffany. We are so glad you're with us again. A true joy. Please do join us at the end of the service. Potluck is more food in this conversation. Potluck is next Sunday. Bring a dish to share and bring it to the kitchen between 10:30 and 11 if you don't mind. And if you don't feel like cooking, there's always food. We are organizing Circle Suppers, a chance to eat and connect with a smaller group of congregation monthly. And if you want to participate, please contact Circle Suppers at hvouc.org by Tuesday, September 9th, by midnight. If you get hungry at midnight. Circle Suppers arrangements will be emailed to participants on Wednesday, September 10th. And it is definitely time, folks, to think about the service auction. What a fun event, and it's a major fundraiser for those of you who are not familiar with this. So what you would like to donate, dream it up, talk to your friends, and get online and make a donation. And you go to stewardship and go down there, and it will say service auction, and you can figure out how to do it. And get your ideas together, get it online, and then we can start looking at that catalog and drooling. Our closing hymn, which is number 21 in the old gray hymnal, is remembering that Mary Oliver could just not take the word beautiful out of her poem, no matter what that editor wanted. Our hymn is For the Beauty of the Earth, number 21. Please rise as you are able.
This week and every week, may your gifts nurture our shared ministry and the world that we have been called to love. Here is our benediction. May justice lead us to the calling of this moment. May wonder meet us right where we're at. May we discover our collaborators and our companions. And may love guide us on our journey of transformation. Blessed be, amen, and go in peace.
Yeah!